And you're welcome. The chairman of the Abia State Independent Electoral Commission, Professor George Chima, has been kidnapped. Chima was abducted on Friday from his Okigwe residence in Imo State while playing host to some guests, whom a family source said included lecturers from Abia State University, Uturu. 4 gunmen were said to have stormed the house and harassed his visitors before taking him away. The police spokesperson in the state, DSP Henry Okoye, has confirmed the development. And governors under the platform of the PDP Governors Forum have promised not to leave any stone unturned until the crisis rocking the party is resolved. This was part of the forum's resolution after a closed-door meeting it held in Asaba, the Delta State capital, on Friday. The meeting comes barely 2 days after the party's BOT meeting which was marred by rowdy scenes after supporters of Senator Samuel Anyanwu allegedly attacked the party's former youth leader Sunday Ude Okoye. In more news, Peter Obi, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, has criticized former Osun State Governor Bisi Akande for linking the 2020 NSAS bad governance, NSAS protest to Obi supporters known as the Obedience. Akande, in a podcast, claimed the protests were orchestrated to undermine President Bola Tinubu's presidential bid, alleging foreign funding behind the movement. In response, Obi's media aide Umar Ibrahim rejected Akande's claims, calling them misleading and divisive. He emphasized that the NSAS protests were a spontaneous outcry against police brutality, corruption, and systemic inequality, and not politically motivated, and urged leaders to focus on addressing Nigeria's current socio-economic challenges instead of spreading misinformation. In the same vein, the national coordinator of Obedient Movement Worldwide, Tanko Yunusa, called Akande's statement an affront to the memory of all those who lost their lives during the NSAS protests. And now we go back to the party crisis inside of the PDP as we're being joined by our guest this evening. Joining us from Delta State is Lucky Ihoyota. He's a member of the People's Democratic Party who will share his thoughts on the situation. Mr. Ihoyota, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So my first question to you is, are you satisfied with the outcome of the meeting? Do you believe that it has solved any problems at all?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes. You know, in every household where there's a problem, there must be an attempt to resolve. I think what we have seen thus far in the last few days, rising from the BOT meeting and also the meeting happening at Asaba, you notice that everybody is trying to push for peace and see how best we can handle the issue on bedeviling the People's Democratic Party. As you know, the intendment of all of these meetings is to achieve peace and also achieve oneness in the party. I think the work is in progress, it's a going concern. It's not going to be a sprint, it's a marathon, and I do hope that everybody's doing their best to see that we solve this problem so that we don't run into a one-party state in our country.
Okay. And given the fisticuffs that we witnessed on Wednesday during the BOT meeting, many people believe that the problem in the PDP may just be bigger than anyone has ever imagined. Is that something one meeting alone can address, do you think?
Like you heard me, I said it won't be a sprint, it's going to be a marathon. The PDP, as you know, governed this country for about 16 years. And the PDP is used to being in power. So not until 2015 when the party lost that presidential election to the APC presidential candidate general, Muhammadu Buhari. Now, talking about if these meetings can provide solution, yes, the meetings hope to provide solution. Like what you heard the governors agreed on to that you even read in your news a while ago. The governors have taken a position. They're going to start with their appeal court judgment, and they're also going to stand to protect the party. They are standing for democracy, not just the PDP. Now look, what is happening in the PDP is can be said to be considered to be something that can trample our democracy. Because the PDP appears to be the biggest opposition party. And what the presidency and the ruling party is trying to do is to add fuel to the already burning fire in PDP. You know the story as a journalist. What actually triggered the entire crisis in the PDP. Damago, the acting national chairman, the issue of the national secretary, who is the national secretary and who is not the national secretary, they are the issue, they are the main issue. But I do believe as a Democrat and as someone that believes in Nigeria's democracy, that the PDP is going to come out strong and big after this whole setback.
Okay.
And it's better for us as a country to pray that the PDP survive. Because if the PDP fails, whether we like it or not, whether we are PDP or APC members tomorrow, Nigerian democracy is going to be the beneficiary of it, either for good or for bad. Yeah. So there's no democracy that can succeed without a viable opposition. So I don't think it's in the best interest of the country and also the president for the PDP to go down as a party. So all hands must be on deck to save our democracy by supporting those that are pushing for the survival of PDP.
Okay, save the democracy by supporting those pushing for the survival of the PDP. I hear you there, but what about the ordinary party faithful? Let's take a look at them, for instance. What exactly do you think the party should do if they are going to try and help bring back the confidence of these ordinary party faithfuls who might have been looking up to them for direction? What must the PDP do to regain trust in the PDP?
I think it's to build confidence. Confidence and hope need to be given to the party. Then again, a must do, which I've always been canvassing for. The National Secretariat should be weeded. We should weed that place of old politicians. We need young, vibrant people. The life of Ugo Shinyere is doing wonderfully well in terms of performance and in terms of advocacy for party democracy. These are the kind of human beings we need in Wadata Plaza. We need young, vibrant people all over the country. We have them millions. Enough of these shenanigans out there. The players, the big players there now, their time is up. They should learn to quit the stage when the oppression is high. That destroys democracy for crisis for the personal interest. They should allow the recruitment of young people into the party hierarchy so that the party can be run excellently. We're in a digital area. This archaic way of running political parties should cease. The APC was formed on the trust of intellectualism. The people that actually made the APC popular in 2014 were intellectuals. We are people with great ideas. If not for the President Buhari that came that messed things up for them, and also the president that is also not doing very well. The APC came on the trust of wanting to do things differently. The PDP must move beyond the old way of doing things.
In moving beyond the old way of doing things, Mr. Igoyota, in moving away from the old way of doing things, the one thing that is the biggest contention now is regarding the party national secretary. Who exactly is it? What is their intention regarding that?
The law will surely take its course on that. We've gone past the appeal stage. I think the case is in the Supreme Court right now. I think the court pronouncement is going to put a pin to that. Talking about who is the national secretary, you know and I know. A man that left for governorship and came back to wanting to claim national secretary, you know who he's working for. You know there's a man also out there that is hell-bent on bringing this party down. You should also know that there's a man that is calling himself the acting national chairman now that's also not working for the good of the party. Why can you have 18 member national working committee and you're having 13 of them not on the same side with a man that calls himself the acting national chairman. It doesn't work anywhere. Look, you can't lead the people when they don't accept you. You cannot. You cannot lead the people. We know the national secretary of our party. The other day, you saw the drama that took place in the BOT meeting. That wasn't called. It wasn't called for at all. It shouldn't have happened. Remember, this is Nigeria's democracy. We have vested interests and personal interests are taken center stage. But however, I do hope that the law will take its course, the constitution of the party will be upheld, and the right thing will be done at the right time, at the time.
All right. Mr. Egoyota, I want to say thank you very much for giving us your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Moving on now, the federal government has donated 30 million naira to the families of the late Pa Taiwo Akinkunmi, designer of Nigeria's national flag, nearly 2 years after his passing. The check was presented by the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Larry Isaonilu, and Oyo State NOA Director Olukemi Afolayan at Akinkunmi's residence in Elebu, Ibadan. Pa Akinkunmi, who passed away on August 29, 2023 at age 87, has honored, or rather was honored, for his remarkable contribution to the nation. Isaonilu emphasized that the donation was not a payment for his service, but a gesture of appreciation for his lasting impact. The national flag, designed 64 years ago, remains a symbol of Nigerian unity and pride. Let's now bring you the news of a tragedy that struck in Lagos early on Friday morning when a suspected drunk driver plowed into a group of soldiers during their routine morning training at Myong Barracks Army Sports Camp. Eyewitnesses told News Central that several soldiers sustained serious injuries, while one later died at hospital. The incident has sparked fear and anxiety among the families of the affected soldiers, who are desperately seeking updates on their loved ones. News Central's lead correspondent, Bernard Akede, has more on this.
What began as a routine 15-kilometer route march ended in chaos and tragedy. Eyewitnesses who declined to speak on camera say soldiers were training around the Morocco area in Yaba at about 6:30 a.m. when a vehicle allegedly driven by an intoxicated driver lost control and crashed into them. The impact left many soldiers with severe injuries.
Here right now where I'm standing, and you'll see the shots exactly, is where it happened. It's been covered now with sand, but you can still see pieces of the vehicle. These are pieces of the vehicle's light when it crashed into those soldiers, and parts of the vehicles got broken. These are still pieces of the vehicle. I think we have clips of that particular vehicle, and I hear that the vehicle has been confiscated and has been taken into custody by the military police, or they call them MP.
The injured personnel were rushed to the military hospital at Myong Barracks. The chief medical director confirmed that they are receiving urgent medical attention. However, one of the victims, a female soldier, succumbed to her injuries. The exact number of casualties remain unclear, but eyewitnesses report that several soldiers suffered multiple fractures. Military police have since impounded the vehicle, while the two male occupants have been taken into custody for further investigation. As the nation sympathizes with the Nigerian army and the families of those affected, there is growing concerns about the possibility of more fatalities. The military is expected to release an official statement in the coming hours. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
The FCT Police Command says that it has arrested 31 suspects allegedly complicit in the vandalism and theft of public infrastructure, including electricity cables and others that have plunged residents of Dawaki, Mpape, Nyanya, Karu, and surrounding communities into darkness. While parading the suspects, the FCT Commissioner of Police revealed that the arrests followed a temporary closure of scrap yards, also known as partaker markets. He adds that the feat achieved followed a joint operation conducted by security agencies, leading to the recovery of items worth over 1 billion naira and the arrests of many of the suspects.
January 29, we raided Dede Partaker Market. Items recovered include bundles of barbed wire installed by the government. This comprehensive operation represents a decisive move towards eliminating vandalism and safeguarding critical infrastructure within the FCT and the neighboring states. Arrests, charges, and recoveries. So far, 31 suspects have been arrested, with 16 already charged to court. Charged to court for criminal conspiracy, mischief by injury to public road, navigable channels, and electrical installations, which are punishable by life imprisonment, a fine or both, under Section 332 of the Penal Code. It also includes receiving and being in possession of stolen public properties.
Welcome back. Now, a witness identified as prosecution witness D has testified in the ongoing trial of Tukur Mamu, the publisher of Desert Herald newspaper at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The masked witness was led in evidence on Thursday by David Kauswe, lawyer to the Attorney General of the Federation. Mamu is facing trial on a 10-count charge bordering on alleged terrorism after he was accused of aiding and negotiating with terrorists who attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train in March 2022. He was accused of collecting $120,000 in ransom payment on behalf of Boko Haram terrorists responsible for the train attack. He was also accused of exchanging voice note communications relating to the hostages with one Baba Adamu, a Boko Haram spokesperson. However, the Desert Herald publisher pleaded not guilty to the terrorism charges. A devastating fire outbreak occurred at a fueling station in Dutango, Jigawa State on Thursday evening, causing widespread damage and panic. The incident happened around 8 p.m. when a fuel tanker exploded while offloading fuel at the Shaktatu fueling station along Kiyawa Road. Eyewitnesses described the scene as chaotic, with people running for their lives. The fueling station and several nearby properties were damaged, but unfortunately, or rather, fortunately, there are no reported deaths so far. The Jigawa State Police Command, through its spokesperson, SP Shiisu Adam, confirmed the incident, saying that they received a report on the fire outbreak at about 8 p.m. The governors of the Lake Chad Basin on Friday elected Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni as the new chairman of the forum. Buni's election was part closing ceremonies for the 5th edition of the conference, where leaders and key stakeholders from Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, and Chad gathered to review the state of things in the region and chat the way forward. This year's conference focused on security, trade, and technology, with special focus on factors mitigating against integration and development for the people of the region.
Governors Forum has provided a platform for inclusive and substantive contributions towards the effective implementation of the revised strategy. It remains evident that irreversible degradation and eventual elimination of Boko Haram and other armed groups will pave the way for sustainable peace and development in the affected communities. The engagements witnessed here have been focused, comprehensive, and encouraging, demonstrating a shared commitment to stabilizing the region and improving the lives of those affected in the communities.
A lot of efforts and resources have been put in place for the feasibility study of the interbasin water transfer from Ubangi River down to Chari River in Cameroon and down to Lake Chad, and also with advocacy in order to compensate the Central African Republic and the Congo Basin by providing some infrastructural facilities like irrigation facilities and electricity. It is important also to note that the major stumbling block of the interbasin water transfer is funding. So we should continue to look for ways so that the interbasin water transfer can be effective. Another issue that we should not forget is the regulation on the waterways coming into Lake Chad. If we forget the human activities, we continue to reduce the amount of water getting into Lake Chad.
Now joining us to provide further insight into the conversation is News Central's correspondent Umaru Kirawa, who has been at the conference. Umaru, thank you for joining us this evening. What are the key takeaways as the conference is finally over?
Yes, thank you very much. The key takeaways from the conference is that the regional leaders have decided to strengthen collaboration, to strengthen ties towards improving the operational capabilities of the multinational joint task force, which has been critical in the fight against Boko Haram and other terrorist groups across the Lake Chad region. And another important resolution of the regional leaders during the Lake Chad Governors Forum is their desire to see that development really takes place in virtually all countries across the Lake Chad, Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon, talking about infrastructural projects, roads, and so on and so forth. They have decided that deliberate efforts will be put in place to ensure that infrastructural projects get fruition in the Lake Chad region. And of course, they decided to select the Abia State Governor, Maimala Buni, as the new chairman of the Governors Forum, who will steer the affairs of the Lake Chad Governors Forum for the next 2 years. In addition to this, the Lake Chad Governors Forum decided to put deliberate effort towards combating trafficking of drugs, illicit drugs, and so on and so forth, which are considered to be used by terrorist groups and others to engineer and then use youth and so on and so forth. And they have also decided to engage civil society groups and traditional institutions to put them in the front line towards ensuring that all voices are heard, all voices are represented, and everybody gets what he wants: peace, security, development, and so on and so forth. And most importantly, the United Nations organizations, the UNODC, the WFP, UNFPA, and others alike have also shown keen interest in supporting the regional leaders to actualize their dreams of ensuring a peaceful Lake Chad region. Among other key resolutions, which the regional leaders and stakeholders, including academicians, researchers, and so on and so forth, are working together towards ensuring that the Lake Chad gets the desired attention and security, peace and development, and people, particularly the displaced communities, pick up the pieces of their lives. In addition to this, the forum decided to put pressure on the multinational joint task force to clear the remnants of Boko Haram and other terrorist groups across the Lake Chad, and of course they should take all empty spaces. They should take all places into their own domain.
Yeah, taking advantage of every vacuum. Thank you very much, Kira, for bringing us up to speed and giving us a synopsis of the event. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Moving on now, the Afenifere Youth Coalition has condemned Omoyele Showore's relentless attacks on Yoruba public office holders, particularly his recent verbal assault on the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, leading to his arraignment in court. Members of the Youth Coalition therefore urged the judiciary to ensure justice is served while ensuring that this case sets a precedence that online defamation, cyberbullying, and targeted harassments will no longer be tolerated. However, leaders of the coalition group believe people have the right to protest, but no one has the right to impede the country's democratic process.
The Afenifere Youth Coalition reaffirmed that Omoyele Sowore is not an activist, but a professional troublemaker, a failed politician, and a cyber criminal who has built a career on blackmail and misinformation. His current trial is long overdue, and we urge the judiciary to ensure that justice is served without fear or favor.
Is Egbeto going to be the first IG whose tenure was extended? When others' tenure was extended, was it constitutional? If it was, what role did the same Comrade Sowore played when those tenures were extended? Why is it because you are, yes, being taken in for obstructing lawful law officers from carrying out their duty, you now suddenly remembered that the IG's tenure had an issue? You know, so it goes to show that the motive is not in public interest.
Nigeria's civil society space was thrown into a major uproar on May 2024 when amended portions to the nation's cybercrime laws came into effect. They fear that the Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2024 could not only limit citizens' liberties, but also lead to the Constitution bowing to a subordinate legislation. This report explores how Omoyele Sowore, a leading voice in the civil space, is now standing trial for cybercrime charges.
Crime in Nigeria has evolved from basic internet scams to more sophisticated cyber offenses, including financial fraud, cyber stalking, and identity theft. But how aware is the public about cyber offenses?
Illegal activities on the internet. There was a time when Twitter was banned. You understand? Then when the federal government released it, I saw a lot of rules. I read the rules, so I knew if you post a lot of things that are wrong, even wrong allegations can lead to. You understand?
Cybercrime is in my opinion, is any crime that is committed over the internet with anything digital.
Let everybody be accountable for whatever they post online, because this will reduce the issue of cybercrime.
The 2015 Cybercrime Act prescribes penalties ranging from heavy fines to imprisonment for offenses such as hacking, cyberstalking, and online harassment. However, concerns have been raised about the selective enforcement of the law, particularly in cases involving journalists and activists. A notable example is the case of Omoyele Sowore, a Nigerian activist and journalist who is currently facing legal proceedings related to alleged cybercrime offenses.
It's not very good for the global image of Nigeria. You know, it could go a long way in damaging the reputation of Nigeria. You know, Nigeria at the moment is struggling with the reputation crisis. You know, everywhere you go, most Nigerians are not treated well because they have been profiled as criminals. You know, that should not be the case.
Legal analysts emphasize the importance of distinguishing between legitimate digital journalism and cyber offenses. While laws must be upheld, there is a growing call for a balanced approach that protects free speech while punishing cyber criminal activities.
From the Cybercrimes Protection and Prevention Act of 2015, one of the penalties attached to it is, you know, if you have been sentenced, if you have been convicted and sentenced, you risk serving a jail term of about 7 years, and at the same time, you also risk paying a fine of 7 million or both.
Cybercrime remains a major concern in Nigeria, with authorities intensifying enforcement. While legal measures are necessary to curb fraudulent activities, the application of these laws must be transparent and fair. All and sundry are advised to stay informed and exercise caution in their digital interactions. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured women in the country of the federal government's commitments to ensuring equity, inclusion, and financial empowerment as part of Nigeria's strategy for sustainable development. This was during a two-day gender inclusion conference which held at the State House in Abuja. Here, Ahmedin Uyi compiles this report.
The conference, A gender inclusion event is being hosted by the Office of the Vice President with the theme Breaking Barriers, Building Resilience for Sustainable Women's Economic and Financial Inclusion will affirm the federal government's commitment to improving the lot of women in the country.
This gender inclusion conference is not just another gathering of policy makers and stakeholders. It is a reaffirmation of the journey we embark upon with the launch of the ASU Accord for Economic and Financial Inclusion in April 2024, right here in this chamber.
Many residents say the conference will also present an opportunity to X-ray economic and financial inclusion for women.
At the heart of today's discussion today is women economic empowerment and financial inclusion. However, we cannot talk about this without first of all discussing the ASU Accord on Economic and Financial Inclusion, which was signed on 25th of April in this same room.
The theme of the conference, Breaking Barriers, Building Resilience for Sustainable Economic and Financial Inclusion, resonate deeply with our shared commitment toward fostering a more equitable and inclusive Nigeria.
The engagement today offers us another opportunity to advance Nigeria's development agenda for our women. It is indeed an opportunity to strengthen our strategic framework, dismantle systematic barriers, and drive meaningful and measurable progress towards our gender inclusion agenda.
The Vice President assured that Nigeria will prioritize women inclusion and empowerment as one of its key pillars for development.
The true nature and measure of a nation's civilization is not found in the spectacles of skyscrapers that define its skyline, or in the grandeur of its bridges that stretch across rivers. It is neither in the sophistication of its politics, nor in the ambition of its statesmen. Rather, a nation is judged by its treatment of women, their liberty, their dignity, and their role in shaping the future.
One of the takeaways of the two-day conference is that current policies aimed at promoting women inclusion will be x-rayed so as to give women an opportunity to contribute to the development of the country.
Welcome back. Now, Sudan's paramilitary commander Mohammed Hamdan Daglo has acknowledged setbacks in the capital Khartoum, but vowed to expel the army from the city again. The war since April 2023 between Daglo's rapid support forces and the army has killed tens of thousands of people, uprooted more than 12 million, and pushed millions to the brink of famine. After months of apparent stalemate in Khartoum, the army 1 week ago broke an almost 2-year RSF siege of its Khartoum General Command headquarters. In his address on Friday, Daglo acknowledged setbacks in the capital but urged his troops not to think of the army entering the General Command on the Signal Corps or taking control of Al-Jalil or Wad Madani.
أنا ما دايركم تفكروا شنو الناس ديل خشوا القيادة ولا خشوا الإشارة فتحوا لهم شارع ولا استلموا شنو ولا استلموا الجيلي ولا استلموا مدني لا نفكر احنا دايرين نستلم شنو ما احنا دايرين نستلم شنو الشارع نشيله وثاني احنا دايرين نستلم شنو ما نفكر في انه ان احنا شالوا مننا الجيلي ولا شالوا مننا مدني لا الحاجة الثانية الناس ديل كانوا معانا جوا في الخرطوم كانوا في المقرن كانوا في بنك السودان كانوا في الاستراتيجية كانوا في كافوري طردناهم ثاني نقبل نطردهم ثاني نقبل نمرقهم والدور ده المرقة ما زي المرقة القبيل ارموا قدام بس والخير جايكم ان شاء الله وما تنظر لي لخشوا بشارع الانقاذ ولا خشوا بشارع الماعونه خشوا القياده ولا القياده ما حيتمتعوا فيها والاشاره ما حيتمتعوا فيها انا دايركم تفكروا احنا نستلم شنو احنا نستلم شنو مش تشيل نستلم مننا شنو لا احنا دايرين نستلم شنو ترمي قدام نظرتك تقول لي قدام.
Our residents of Goma in eastern DR Congo are living in fear as fighting between Congolese soldiers and the Rwanda-backed M23 armed group continues. The conflict has left the city scarred with bullet-riddled buildings and looted burnt shops. Local resident Louis Fahara is pleading for assistance to prevent them from starving to death. Since the M23 and Rwandan forces entered the city in January on the 26th, over 100 people have been killed. The fighting has cut off electricity, internet, and severely limited access to essential medicines. As the situation worsens, residents are urgently calling for international assistance to prevent further suffering and starvation.
Woga ingali tena mingi zaidi sababu hatuyakuwa stable, hatuyajua kama tuko mkia wapi na hatuyajua kama marenyo zabo ziko naongea kule wale wakubwa juu, hatuyajua kama wanaishia mpaka wapi mpaka leo. Sababu na radio zote wanazifunga, hatuna hata formation moja na tuko sasa tuko mubatoe haina pilote mpaka leo.
Tulikimbia vitu vyote, hatuna hata na nguo kuvala, chakula tuko nasikia njala, tunataka kufia mnyumba na watoto njala, hatuna maji ya kukunya, hakuna kura, na sasa tuko tunagonjwa mnyumba, tunakosa dawa. Mtusaidie kabisa, mtusikilie huruma juu tukibakia hivi tutakufa shibo wote na manjala.
Tunaendelea kusikitika, tunasikitika sababu vitu vingi vinapotea, watu wengi wanafariki. Lakini kwa leo tunaomba serikali wala serikali mpya tunakuja nayo itupatie amani, turudishie vitu vyote. Mai hatuna kura, mpaka saa hii tungali naogopa kutembea.
Amani yetu tunatafuta amani kuwe. Sio population hatuna na ofu, tuko na susia amani kuwe. Batengeneze Goma yetu kwa kisi na kuwaka. Batusaidie sana, hili ndio tunaomba.
Now, the Ugandan military has announced plans to bolster its defense in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo following increasing security concerns in the region. The move comes amid ongoing instability in the DRC, with armed groups, including the M23 rebel faction, continuing to threaten both local and neighboring countries. Uganda's increased military presence is seen as a precautionary measure to safeguard its border and enhance regional security. Authorities have not provided further details on the scale or timeline of the deployment, but the announcement signals Uganda's commitments to addressing the volatile situation in eastern DRC. The Sudanese army has announced the recapture of Rawaba, a key city in North Kordofan, on Thursday from the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. The RSF has held the city since May 2023. Located 480 kilometers southwest of Khartoum, Rawaba sits on a vital highway linking central Sudan to the region. The army claims to have cleansed the city of RSF forces, marking a significant victory. The battle for Sudan continues as Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan fights against his former ally, RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. Recent army advances include regaining control of key areas in Khartoum and Wad Madani, signaling growing momentum in the ongoing conflict. Welcome back. Now, investigators have recovered the black boxes from a passenger plane that collided mid-air with a military helicopter over Washington's Potomac River, killing all 67 people as rescuers pulled bodies from the freezing water. U.S. President Donald Trump launched the political attack blaming diversity and inclusion policies championed by his Democratic predecessors for causing the incident. Trump's politicization of the tragedy came as the National Transportation Safety Board says it had recovered the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder from the Bombardier jet operated by an American airline subsidiary that collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter late Wednesday. It was reported that staffing was thin in the control tower at Reagan National Airport, where the airliner was about to land when the collision occurred. Over 40 bodies had been recovered as of Thursday evening, according to reports. The South African rand strengthened on Friday, supported by rising precious metal prices and a hawkish tone from the central bank during its monetary policy announcements the day before. By 8:25 GMT, the rand was trading at 18.56 against the dollar, approximately 0.3% stronger than its previous close. A significant boost came from gold prices reaching a record high, benefiting South Africa, a key gold producer. Although the South African Reserve Bank lowered its interest rates as anticipation on Thursday, it highlighted It heightened, rather, the uncertainty, the uncertain global environment and modeling the potential effects of a trade war. I beg your pardon. Now, some analysts suggest the SARB may be done with rate cuts due to its cautious approach. Meanwhile, the top 40 index on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange rose by 0.2%. Now, sports. 2017/18 NPFL highest goal scorer and Super Eagles of Nigeria striker Junior Lokosa has spent a 6-month deal with the 9-time Nigerian champions Enyimba FC. Lokosa scored 20 goals in all competitions for Kano Pillars in 2017 and 18 to earn a place in the Super Eagles of Nigeria squad. The former Simba SC and Esperance de Tunis, who left Sporting Lagos after his contract expired last month, is expected to feature in their upcoming match this weekend. And Spanish international midfielder Pablo Gavira has extended his contract with La Liga giants Barcelona until June 2030. Gavi arrived at Barcelona a decade ago, making his first team debut in August 2021 when he was only 17. But the 27-time capped player suffered a severe knee injury playing for Spain in November 2023, missing his country's Euro 2024 triumph. He has scored 9 goals for the team, but was unavailable for almost a year before returning in October 2024. And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories that we brought your way. Gunmen abduct Abia Electoral Commission chairman as PDP governors meet in Asaba, insist on internal democracy. We also told you the Sudan paramilitary chief admits setback, vows to expel army from Khartoum. To remember now that you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.